from the oath of peace to the shadow of war. The path by which humanity slid into the Second World War. After the First World War, humanity stood amid the ruins of its own making and swore, a war like this must never be allowed to happen again. Europe at that time was like a patient exhausted after a devastating illness. Millions were dead. Millions more survived, but carried wounds that would never heal, both on their bodies and in their souls. Soldiers returned home in silence. No triumph, no glory, only trauma, hunger, and a haunting confusion about the meaning of their sacrifice. Cities that had once symbolized civilization, Paris, Berlin, Vienna, became gray and bleak. Factories closed, currency lost its value, workers were unemployed, families fell apart, and the greatest question echoed in the minds of millions. What did all of this ultimately bring? The answer was brutally clear. Nothing but death, hatred, and the collapse of faith in the civilized world. The Treaty of Versailles. Peace on paper, hatred in reality. In 1919, in Paris, the splendid capital of France, the victorious powers gathered to sign the Treaty of Versailles, a document proclaimed to ensure lasting peace in Europe. But behind the moral and elegant language lay a very practical goal: to punish Germany. For France, this was not merely a matter of justice, but also of revenge. The bitter memory of defeat in the Franco-Prussian War of 1870 to 1871 had never faded. And now, with Germany defeated, France wanted to ensure that its old rival would never rise again. Under the Treaty of Versailles, Germany was forced to accept full responsibility for causing the war, pay enormous war reparations, lose all its colonies, surrender significant territory, reduce its military to near impotence. Yet the most devastating blow was not economic or military, but one to national pride. Germans called the treaty the humiliation of Versailles. A people once proud to be a center of science, industry, and philosophy in Europe were suddenly turned into the guilty party before the entire world. Smoldering resentment spread throughout German society, and this became fertile ground for extremist ideas to take root. The Weimar Republic, democracy in the storm. In the 1920s, Germany entered the era of the Weimar Republic, a young but fragile democracy. Hyperinflation raged. The price of a loaf of bread could triple overnight. The mark lost so much value that people used it to light fires instead of buying food. Millions fell into poverty. Society unraveled. Politics became fractured. Faith in democracy collapsed. Germans felt betrayed by the government, by politicians, by the civilized world they had once trusted. And when people lose faith, they begin to search for a savior. The crisis of 1929, the final straw. In 1929, across the Atlantic Ocean, Wall Street collapsed. The greatest global economic crisis of the modern era began. From New York to Berlin, from London to Vienna, millions lost their jobs, businesses went bankrupt en masse, banks closed, social trust disintegrated. In that chaos, people no longer sought reason, they sought belief. And that belief often took the form of a strong leader. The emergence of Adolf Hitler. In southern Germany, in the noisy beer halls of Munich, an obscure veteran of the First World War began to give political speeches. His name was Adolf Hitler. A hoarse voice, violent rhetoric, words filled with rage. Hitler told the crowd, Germany did not lose the war. Germany was stabbed in the back by cowardly politicians and profiteers. The crowd roared. They saw in Hitler what politicians dared not say. They saw in him their buried national pride. From there, the Nazi Party steadily grew. The first failure, and a dangerous lesson. In 1923, Hitler recklessly attempted a coup in Munich. The event known as the Beer Hall Putsch, he failed. He was arrested. He was sentenced to prison. Yet paradoxically, that failure made Hitler famous across Germany. In prison, he wrote Mein Kampf, My Struggle, a vague yet ambitious manifesto of German fascism. In it, Hitler glorified the Aryan race, hated Jews, opposed communism, called for the creation of a new, great German empire. In desperation, these promises became a narcotic for an entire nation. had from Chancellor to Führer. In 1933, Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany. Within months, he dismantled democracy, crushed opposition, and turned Germany into a totalitarian state. In 1934, Hitler proclaimed himself Führer. Germany entered the path of fascism. Fascism, not only in Germany. Germany was not alone. In Italy, Benito Mussolini had seized power in 1922, building a dictatorship under the slogan, "Everything within the state, nothing outside the state." In Asia, militarist Japan embarked on a path of conquest, beginning with the invasion of Manchuria in 1931. Meanwhile, Western democracies, fearing war, chose silence and appeasement. Deadly appeasement. Hitler rearmed Germany in violation of the Treaty of Versailles. No one stopped him. In 1936, German troops marched into the Rhineland. No one objected. In 1938, Germany annexed Austria. Crowds cheered. In Munich, Britain and France agreed to let Germany seize the Sudetenland of Czechoslovakia. They believed Hitler's final promise. That was not peace. That was illusion. The road to war. In 1939, Germany and the Soviet Union signed a non-aggression pact with secret clauses dividing Eastern Europe. Poland was bargained away. On September 1st, 1939, German troops crossed the Polish border. Bombs fell, tanks roared. Warsaw was engulfed in flames. The Second World War had begun. Conclusion. From the ashes of a false peace, humanity entered the bloodiest era in history. More than 70 million lives would be taken. Fascism was born from hatred, poverty, and fear. It cloaked itself in dreams of greatness, but was built on crime. And history has proven, evil may rise, but it never triumphs forever.